Okay, welcome to the student panel for Engineering Day today. We are so excited to have all of you. My name is Craig Clifford. I'm part of the academic affairs team at the College of Engineering. My main role is to do outreach and recruiting, and the people that help me do that are our engineering ambassadors. And we have three of them on the Zoom meeting today. Miranda, Alex, and Emily. And I am going to have each of the three of them introduce themselves. What I am going to ask them to do is to share their name, their major, their expected graduation date, and why they chose that major. Okay, let's start with Emily.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Emily. I am a computer science student. This is my fourth year of studying. I'm a senior, and so I should be graduating next semester in May. And I chose computer science just because, well, I started out not really knowing a lot about computers, and then taking like an introductory to computers class and realizing how cool they were and how powerful they were. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized like you can kind of do anything you ever could think of with computers. You could build games, you could like do some hacking or prevent like stuff from being hacked. You can build software, you can build robots, you can really do anything with it. And so I really like that versatility of the major. Plus, I used to like math, so I figured this would be a good route to go down.
Wait, you used to like math?
Well,
I get it.
there have been a couple classes that made me like, do I really like math? But I mean, overall, I think it's really important, and I think I'm decent at it. So
Awesome.
we'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Emily. Alex, let's have you go next.
Hi, my name is Alex. Like Emily, I am planning on graduating after this next semester in the spring. I am studying biomedical engineering, and I picked biomedical because I've always been interested in the human body and health. And biomedical engineering, or BME, is a really good opportunity, I think, to kind of study the problems that exist in the way we treat people and to try and help improve those.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Miranda, you're up next.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Miranda. I'm an electrical engineering student. I'm going to finish off my second year as an electrical engineering student after this coming spring. So I have 2 more years. And I chose electrical engineering because I've always had an interest in technology. I actually took like a major exploration class, and I chose to do like a major presentation on computer science actually, but I learned more about computer engineering, and then I took some classes for that, but I decided I like the hardware aspect of like computers more than like designing software. So
Awesome. One question that I failed to ask the three of you, do any of you have minors? And if so, will you let us know what your minors are? Miranda, go ahead.
Yeah, so I do have a minor. It's not at all related to what I'm studying, but it's ceramics. So
Nice.
I really like making pots and little figures with clay.
That is the great thing about your opportunities here, is that you can study whatever you want and you can get multiple minors, multiple majors. It's a great thing. Okay, Emily or Alex, do either of you have minors?
No, but I was in the math minor for a while, just because they overlap a lot with like the required math classes. But there were a couple that I don't think I could have fit into my schedule, and I wanted to graduate in 4 years. And the two that I was missing were like incredibly difficult, so I just figured I wouldn't.
Nice. Okay. Right now, we are going to open it up to general questions. And if there's a long lull, then I will pose a question to our engineering ambassadors. I believe I said this before I started the recording. You can either unmute and ask the question vocally, or you can put it in the chat and one of us will read it and provide an answer. So whoever has the first question, feel free to go ahead and ask that. So I'm going to ask a question, and at any point in time, any of you potential students can cut me. Oh, there's a question right here. Did any of you get scholarships? Emily,
I
you were on
did,
the screen.
yeah.
So let's hear from you.
Yes. So I did. I got a scholarship from like a merit-based scholarship after high school because of my GPA standing, and I kept that up for most of the years of the U. Also, Craig, just so you know, there's another question about that one.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, cool.
Thanks. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I am kind of an interesting case. I was actually a transfer student to the U, and so I also got kind of a merit-based scholarship, but the transfer students are not eligible for the same scholarships as freshmen. So if you are going to get one, I would recommend just coming as a freshman and getting it because it's way better as a freshman than as a transfer student.
Yes. But if you do start somewhere else and you decide to come here, there are still those specific opportunities for transfer students. I was actually a transfer student when I came here to get my degree in engineering. So, yes.
I also recently found out that if you go to the financial aid website, there's a general application for scholarships. And if you'll fill that out, you can, I like literally learned this week that there are a bunch of scholarships that I was unaware of. And all you have to do is fill out like a 1-page application and you'll automatically be considered for all kinds of scholarships.
That's awesome. Alex, will you find that link and put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Miranda, to you. Did you get any scholarships?
Yeah. I've gotten a few based on like what I'm studying as well as being like a minority. So I would definitely scour for scholarship applications that really apply to you. Having a good GPA is also very good. And then I would also add like to apply for FAFSA, which is like financial aid. Even if you don't think you really, what's the word? You really
Qualify?
qualify. Yes, thank you. I would go ahead and fill it out anyways.
Absolutely. Okay, great. The first question that I skipped over to begin with is there anything that you learned about the school after you started classes that you wish you would have known before? That's an awesome question. Let's start with Alex.
Yeah, so mine is actually a really good thing. I had no idea how invested the University of Utah would be in my success. I kind of thought when I got here I would be all on my own, but there are a lot of like tutoring centers, like there's a math tutoring center that's open from 8 to 8. You don't need an appointment. You can just walk in and get help with your math homework. I was also surprised how many resources were available from like the professor or their TAs who are graduate students who help teach the class. So didn't know and have been pleasantly surprised with how much help the university has afforded me and helped me.
Awesome. Emily.
Yeah, so similarly to what Alex said, there's a lot that the university offers that I had no idea about until a little bit too late. Like they have hundreds and hundreds of clubs and activities and organizations. Like I didn't know about the engineering ambassadors until maybe like last year. And I really wish I had signed up or applied earlier because it's really fun and rewarding. And so there's really like a lot of extra things that you can do here that I think give you a lot of opportunities and you can make a lot of friends. And so it's in your best interest to take advantage of those things.
Yep. Okay, and back to Miranda.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I would also add, like, I feel like my high school made it seem like the university wouldn't care about me very much, but they do. We do. Yeah, take advantage of what your student fees pay for, and take advantage of the help that is being offered to you. Make as many friends as you possibly can. I feel like my college experience has been way better after getting to know people.
Fantastic. Student gym with 2 pools and a climbing wall. That's a bonus for sure. Okay, does anyone have the next question?
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? Hey, I just had a really quick question about networking and really getting those internships. How has the school really helped you guys with that?
How about Alex?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Very important. I have not done a lot of networking, unfortunately. I do know that twice a year, so once during each semester, the STEM course, like classes, science, technology, engineering, and math, they actually do like their own STEM career fair where there are companies who are kind of more specialized to what we are going to go into come and we can talk to them. I've also found professors have been super helpful. They actually all hold weekly office hours where they're in their office just hanging out waiting for students to come talk to them, and that has been probably the way I've networked the best, where you go in, you can ask questions about homework, you can talk to them about their research, you can find out more about what you're interested in. So that's where I've been the most successful networking.
Great. Emily?
Yeah, so similarly to what Alex said, there are a lot of career fairs that you can go to. I know that for CS at least, they have a specialized like CS only fair called the Pipeline Career Fair. And that's where you go, and they're just looking for people to give internships to. And usually there's a lot of postings online, like there's a School of Computing like Canvas page that they are always constantly posting like internship opportunities, research opportunities. Another good thing to do is to get like a research opportunity because you can use that to kind of further your own kind of position and like qualifications, if you will, for internships. And usually most professors will have some kind of research opportunity that if you ask them, they can like give you a short interview and see if you're fit for it. And then you can just start doing work that's usually paid. So I recommend doing that to help your internship kind of qualifications.
Awesome. So Miranda, if you have anything to add, cool. And if you don't, that's cool too.
I guess I would just add like sometimes student groups like clubs will hold little resume workshops or networking events. So yeah, just like student-led groups will do that.
So to summarize the answer, there are a plethora of those opportunities here. I have 2 more questions. Do you do any extracurriculars, and how has it affected your classes and your schoolwork? And any of the 3 of you can answer.
Well, I didn't have any extracurriculars like clubs or anything until last year when I started partaking in this one. But I did have a job for quite a while, and it is hard to find a balance at first because you have to work, but you also have to do all your schoolwork at the same time. And it's really about finding like the right amount of hours that fit your schedule, not overworking yourself or putting in too much, like not going to too many clubs or too many activities, because you will burn out like eventually, even if you've got a good rhythm going. Like if it's too much, it's just not going to work out. So slowly kind of like dip your toe in the water, start with like one thing, and then you can like add on if you find more things that you're interested in. But just keep in mind that schoolwork is still really important, and but don't like overwork yourself by doing too much. So start slow.
Balance for sure.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, I think Emily hit the nail right on the head that you definitely can load up and do too much. I only really do 2 extracurricular activities. Being an engineering ambassador, of course, is one of them. But then I also work in a research lab at the School of Medicine, and I am lucky enough where I get to do research, but they also pay me for that research. So it kind of moonlights as my job. I would highly recommend getting a job on campus if you can. I know that there aren't like an infinite number of those, but one of the reasons I found that they're really helpful is they are really good about keeping school the priority. So if we're doing something with the ambassadors or there's something happening in my lab and I say like, hey, I have a class at that time, I've never had anyone give me a hard time about that, which has been, nice.
There is a program called Work Study, and it is based on need. You apply for it, and if you qualify, then you are allowed to apply for work-based jobs here on campus. And we employ about 3 of those students here in the college every semester. So there's lots of different opportunities. Okay, the next question, what is your day like being an engineering student? Miranda.
Okay. It's kind of crazy. I usually start school pretty early in the morning, and then I finish kind of late. My day is mostly filled with classes, schoolwork, some breaks. It does take up a lot of my time because you want to do well. So you have to study, go to class, go to office hours for your TAs or the professor. But yeah, that's mostly my day.
Awesome. So after the other 2 of you answer that, let's talk about how important it is to take advantage of hours with a TA, and especially getting to know your professors during their TA hours.
Okay, so will that be after we do the day in the life?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So my day in the life, basically I wake up like, I don't know, 20 minutes before my first class starts. Normally, if I was on campus, I'd wake up much earlier, but I'll get up, I'll go to my class, I'll make food, eat, whatever, do some work, and then go to my other classes, and then do some more homework. And then usually I'll have time in the very evening to like play a game or something. Like I usually play Minecraft or Skyrim at the end of the day. And that's just a little like me time at the very end to make sure that I'm still having fun every day and I'm not like just doing nothing but work, because otherwise I'd have a really bad time. And then I actually have an interesting schedule where I have like all of my major required classes on one day and then like one like fitness class on the other day. So I have the whole day free basically. And so that's mostly filled with like work and reading and studying, but then also again, like having fun and reading some like pleasure reading books and playing video games.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think this is probably a neat time to ask what a day in the life is like, because it's a lot of Zoom calls, probably like your guys' lives is right now. I think they hit the nail right on the head. Wake up, go to class. 2 days a week, I have a lab for school where I go up on campus and work on that. I really like that Emily said she tries to find time every day to do something fun that she likes. I think that's super important. One of the things I think is cool about engineering is you get exposed to a lot of stuff. Like I recently bought a 3D printer because I had a class where we built a medical device and we 3D printed a bunch of stuff. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. So lately, that's what I've been doing to try and entertain myself is, figure out how to build that and then how to design parts and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy.
Awesome. Okay, let's transition to the other question. Why is it important to take advantage of TA and professor office hours?
I can go first. So basically the whole point of like TA hours and professor office hours is just to help you. Like that's all they're there for, is for you to get help from them. So you should never feel like, oh, I can't ask for help because that's embarrassing. That's the whole point. Like they're there just to help you with any kind of question you have. And it's also really good to kind of like become not like friends with your professor, but like acquaint yourself with them, because I mean, the more that they know you, the more likely that they're gonna like want to help you do more things. Like they could probably offer you a research opportunity if you become like well acquainted enough and you show that you're doing like good work and that you ask for help when you need it. And also like with TAs, like they'll probably like reoccur in your other classes. So it's always nice to like know a TA. And so it makes it a little easier to become more comfortable asking them questions. I know it's a little like really nerve wracking, but you should always introduce yourself to your professor. You should always ask the TAs for help if you ever need it. That's precisely what they're there for. That's what they're paid for. You should always like ask for help if you need it.
And just jumping off that point, I imagine that you're going to spend a lot of time with your classmates trying to do homework or, write a lab report together and try and figure it out. And your classmates are wonderful resources, but most of the time they know and don't know just as much as you do, where the TA and the professor have probably, either taken the course or are literally teaching the course, and you can go in and get help right from the horse's mouth, right? They'll know the exact right answer or a way to re-explain it, and you can save yourself a lot of time spinning, in circles.
And then I would add one more thing. If you get to know your professor, most of the time they will be more than willing to write, yes, letters of recommendation, like Craig said.
Awesome. Okay, the next question from anyone? It's 10:23 and we're gonna go till 10:40. Professors, oh, I started reading what I wrote. Okay.
What was like, how did it feel like when you first started taking classes for your major?
It's a great question. Let's start with Emily.
I had a great time like transitioning from mostly gen ed classes to more focused classes. I thought like I know gen eds are pretty easy, and honestly sometimes they just feel really tedious, and so getting to start classes that are actually like something that I'm very interested in is really enjoyable, especially in the beginning when they're a little bit easier to follow. And yeah, I just had a much better experience after starting to take more major focused classes. But that being said, don't take all the gen eds all at once. You want to spread them out to like pad your classes, because they are going to get a lot harder. And if you take like 4 or 5 just really hard high level major classes, you're going to have a terrible time. But if you kind of spread out the gen eds and take them kind of like intermittently throughout, you're going to have an easier time because you have like one less class to worry about.
Miranda, let's hear from you.
Yeah, everything Emily said, except for me, I guess it was a little intimidating, just because like I had never worked really on what I was studying. I just kind of picked that major because it sounded interesting to me, not because I had previous experience with it. But I'm really starting to enjoy it now that I can apply like some gen eds that I took to it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, and Alex?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I remember being really frustrated when I first started because all of my classes were like physics and chemistry and not like biomedical engineering 101. And I was kind of complaining to my advisor that I was like, I want to study engineering, but I haven't even started yet. And they told me something. They said, before you can be an engineer, you have to have like tools in your tool belt, and your general math and your general chemistry and your general physics are those tools. So I was at first really happy and really relieved to finally be starting, major classes where I'd learn about biomedical engineering. And then I was happy Miranda had a similar experience where I showed up to class the first day and they were like, you're going to code a model of the systemic cardiovascular system and model disease states. And I panicked and I was like, I have no idea how to do that. And I've appreciated and learned that they will teach you everything they want you to know, but it was a little intimidating right at the beginning. But since then, it's been really rewarding. I've become very passionate about it and I've really enjoyed it.
Did any of the three of you take the Survey of Engineering course? Okay. I will explain what that is. It is a class that you can either take during the summer or in your first semester. In this, I think it's like a 1-credit class. They give a detailed overview of every field of engineering that we offer. So if you think that you're interested in engineering, but you're undecided on the field, that's an excellent course. And I know the professor, Stacey Firth, is awesome. Super easy to talk to. It's a great course. Okay, what's the next question? You can ask it with your mouth or in the chat.
Hey, so for Alex and Craig, I know you guys are saying that you guys are transfer students. How was that transition for you?
I'll let Alex go first because I did it a long time ago and he might say what I'm going to say.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it was pretty smooth. I kind of jumped at a weird time where I was halfway through a year of physics and halfway through a year of organic chemistry. So there were a few times where like my organic chemistry professor at the University of Utah wanted or expected me to know different things because in her class, the first part of the year, she taught something that my class didn't. So that was actually the first time I really took advantage of office hours because I went in and I was like, I have no idea what, like you guys did a whole chapter that my class didn't do, but the U also does a really good job. There's like a monthly transfer student meeting where you can meet other transfer students and kind of hang out. They do free food. So I have had a really pleasant experience and my transition was really smooth. I don't know about Craig.
The one thing that I wish I would have known is to meet with an academic advisor right from the start. I transferred from BYU and my program was close to a 5-year program and I wanted to get done as quickly as I could. And I actually did the entire program in 3.5 years. Do not recommend that. I took courses out of order and people that I was going to graduate with, I wasn't in classes with them. And so sit down with an academic advisor. They'll help you to map out the courses and it will save you time and it will make it so that you enjoy going to school.
Do that if you're a freshman too. They are very helpful
Yes.
and they know a lot.
Yes. On the bottom of your confirmation email, when you registered, there are Zoom links to academic advisors for each of the majors. So if you have questions even today, you can pop into those and ask them questions. Okay, who has the next question? Okay, while we're waiting for a question, I am going to ask our 3 ambassadors, what is the #1 thing that we haven't already talked about that you wish you would have known before you started being an engineering student here at the U? And I know Emily thinks fast, so I'm going to ask her to go first.
Okay, first of all, something that you should know just as like any kind of student is that there's like infinitely free food on campus if you just know where to look. Like sometimes you kind of have to like weasel your way into things and be like, oh yeah, I'm an honor student, and maybe you're not, but they don't really care in the end. It's because it's just free food. So if you're ever like hungry and you're like, crap, I have no money, there's always going to be food somewhere. You just have to like find it. So I recommend like keeping an eye out for that because it's saved me many times. But in terms of like engineering wise, I hadn't coded at all before I started going to the U, or it was like very, very minor. But my suggestion is to take your time with things. Like I've really tried to kind of shove everything in and try to get it into a perfect 4-year like plan. But I kind of wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had taken my time and not overloaded myself. And I feel like I would have had a slightly better experience. So there are going to be people who are like, oh, I'm graduating in like 2 years because I'm a genius. But don't listen to them. Like, do things at your own pace. And like, usually a lot of engineering majors are in fact 5-year programs. So it's not like unusual if you take another couple semesters and another couple years. Like, that's completely normal. And just don't feel like rushed or stressed to like finish early.
I love those comments. Okay, Alex or Miranda?
Yeah, I got two good pieces of advice that it took me longer than it should have to learn. The first one was in high school, at least for me, a lot of the times the way I studied was by doing my homework. And someone told me in college, you need to do your homework and then you also need to set aside time to study. And it took me a year too long to figure that out, but I would highly recommend that. And then the second one is someone told me that at some point everyone fails a test and it's going to be okay. And I was like, I'm never going to fail a test. And then I failed the test and my world didn't end. I didn't get an F in the class. I didn't have to retake it. And so I would just say, sometimes bad things are going to happen. You're going to have work, something comes up, you don't finish an assignment, and your life's going to continue and everything's going to be all right.
That is so true. My very first test, I got 23%, and it crushed me. And then I got a B in the class. So something related to that, if anything is going on in your personal life that is affecting your college life, we have a full-time counselor. That is not the word. He has a degree in everything that he needs to, and it's totally free to talk to him. Also, reach out to your academic advisors and to your professors. Let them know what is going on because they will work with you. And if you're following that process and then you need to withdraw from a class, it's much easier because everyone has been in the loop the whole time. Okay, Miranda?
Yeah, Craig already said what I was going to say. I would definitely take advantage of like the mental health services they offer here. They have helped me and countless students. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, there's another question. How do you become an ambassador? I will answer the first part of that, and then any of the three of you can share your personal experience of going through the process. So I am in charge of the Engineering Ambassador Program. We are looking for students that have been here for at least a year, who are well-spoken. I am a stutterer, and we actually have one of our ambassadors is as well. So things like that won't stop you from this opportunity. So basically, you just reach out to me after you have been here for about a year, and we interview you. It is very not scary, and it's a lot of fun. We visit high schools. We do Zoom things a lot now. We record movies. So actually all three of these have been recording a movie for their individual major. So do any of the three of you want to share anything else? If you're not talking, can you push mute because we are recording and it's on speaker view? Thank you. Alex?
Okay. Oh, wait.
Emily.
No, Alex, you go first.
Oh, I was just going to say, Craig hit the nail on the head, and I was really excited to be an ambassador because at my high school, there wasn't really any kind of engineering education. And so I've had a lot of fun going to high schools and even back to my own high school and sharing engineering and why I love it so much. That's all I was going to add. Go ahead, Emily.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah, I thought when I first like applied to be an engineering ambassador that it would be like very businessy and very formal, but it's not like that at all. I have such a great time talking with everybody. Like all the other ambassadors are students. So you just have a great time talking with other people who are in engineering classes, like kind of taking the same level of difficulty that you are, and it's just a great time. I thought I'm having a lot more fun than I expected to.
Yeah, all of the above. The interview process was scary at first because I'm an anxious person. I didn't like know anyone, but my interviewers made it fun. You just had to show that you are really invested in what you're learning and kind of teaching it to other students, kind of getting them involved with engineering.
Awesome. So one of our other ambassadors, Susie, I saw her for a second, but she may have left. Oh, Susie's here. So this next question is to be answered by you first and foremost. We have about 2.5 minutes. So the question is, what are ways that you believe that we can take our time in college? Susie, will you first start by saying what your major is, what year you are in school, and why you chose that major? All of that quickly, and then answer the question.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Susie Krevling. I am a third-year student studying mechanical engineering here at the U. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and currently living at home. And Craig, what was the question? Why do I, or how do I spend my time at college?
What are ways that you believe that you can take your time in college? So, let's see. I am going to put it back in the chat again so that you can read it. If anyone else has an answer that they want to start sharing on this, feel free.
Yeah, I thought Miranda was a really good example today of like doing the ceramics minor. I found that college is a really cool time with a lot of possibilities, and I would just say, maybe you're going to focus on engineering mostly, but I would encourage you to take the time to explore other interests, whether that's taking a class in them or I went to that student gym we talked about and just was like, hey, I think I'd like to learn how to rock climb, and went there, every day for 2 months and just kind of developed and explored a new interest. So, in gist, I would just say, take the time to explore any and all of your interests.
Yeah, that's a great point, Alex. Also, what I would recommend is like there are going to be a lot of people in some of your earlier classes that are going to maybe advance a little faster than you are. But don't try and like keep up with them because you're like worried about people surpassing you. That's what I was worried about. Just forget about those people, pretend they don't exist. Focus on what you need, what you want, like the amount of classes that you can take per semester. And also, like Alex said, explore different things. Like maybe you're taking a couple of your major classes, but that doesn't mean you can't also take like really cool classes. Like I took a Lord of the Rings class to learn about like the folklore behind it and how J.R.R. Tolkien wrote it, and like a study of all the movies. So really it's about like balancing like, yeah, you're like your major and all those major classes, but also what you want to do.
To add on to that really quick, I'd say the only way that I am able to do engineering is by being involved in many student groups as well outside of engineering, because it gives me a break from school and learning to interact with other people, and it makes it really exciting because there's all these different people that are joining in all these different groups, and it brings so many different people together. And so I think that's one of the major things that I would do, or advice that I would give you guys coming into engineering, or if you're in engineering already.